History is littered with a long line of lovable but angry men. But one man rises above them all.
What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome to What Just Happened. And my guests this week are journalist and my nemesis on the talk, Anisiobi, guaranteed disagreement throughout the rest of the show there, and political commentator Anna McGovern. Thank you for coming along. Now, it has just been revealed that Meghan Markle will not be attending the King's coronation. Unfortunately, Harry still will be. So here are my thoughts on the issue. She was here, she was there, she was every bloody where. But where is Meghan Markle now? As the day of the King's coronation draws ever nearer, the Duchess of Netflix public appearances are much rarer than they once were. Thank God for that, some might say. But with bated breath, we have been awaiting word of whether the former cable show actress intends to grace the regal occasion with her presence. For that matter, until a couple of days ago, we didn't even know if Harry would attend. The dynamic duo's silence on the issue was at best somewhat discourteous, at worst downright rude, but it's par for the course for a problematic pair who have become a major thorn in the royal side. Will they? Won't they? Now we know. Harry's coming, but Meghan isn't. So it's official. Princess Pinocchio has snubbed the king, told him thanks but no thanks. Extraordinary. You can almost hear the royals' collective sigh of relief, but here's the big question. Did we actually want the gruesome twosome turning up to turn the sacred ceremony into a double-act circus? Arguably, it might have been better if they both stayed away, if they stayed put in their massive mansion in Montecito, if Meghan and Harry had both crossed the Atlantic to join the congregation at Westminster Abbey, all media hell would have broken loose. At the moment of his glorious crowning, poor King Charles would have faced the grim prospect of being overshadowed by his second son and his American daughter-in-law. But it ain't gonna happen. The tacky, money-spinning Harry and Meghan together show remains in California, a stone's throw from Hollywood, where it belongs. Instead, the Harry Solo show is coming to town. The Sussex brand, of course, is based on the Duke and Duchess's connections to the British royal family. The closer those links remain, the more the many millions of dollars are likely to pour in. But will Netflix, Spotify and the commercial community stateside still write the mega checks if it becomes clear that the couple have been uncoupled? Had they both been no-shows, it would have been a clear sign that they are fully estranged from an exasperated Charles and his weary Windsor clan. Their conspicuous absence at the King's coronation would have spelt the end of the line for their financial gravy train. That Harry, at least, is attending keeps the Sussexes royally relevant. But even with Harry on his own at the pageant, the Netflix duo looked like becoming a Tinseltown tribute act. Harry will take his place at the back of the stalls, somewhere near his disgraced uncle, Prince Andrew. At that point, despite his dramatically reduced status, Harry will still steal much of the limelight and hog the headlines, even minus Meghan. Brace yourselves, a media frenzy is set to erupt like a rancid volcano. Stand by for lights, camera, action, wall-to-wall telly, paparazzi pictures, and a million miles of column inches. Prince William, whose bitter rift with his brother has been laid bare in a new bombshell book, will loathe every attention-grabbing minute of it. So will Kate, and so will the King. As a journalist, I'm not going to pretend that I won't be intrigued by the story. As a journalist, of course, the dazzling spectacle of exiled Harry at the centre of the British action intrigues me. I can't wait to cover it. But I feel sorry for Charles because the press pack will descend upon Harry and go into overdrive. The media mob will just be doing their job. But trust me, it won't be pretty. Even without Meghan, roll up. The Harry circus is coming to town. So that's what I think. And I think in many ways, had Meghan accompanied Harry to the ceremony, it would have overshadowed the event almost entirely. So in some ways, it's a lot better for the royal family that only Harry is coming. But of course, Harry alone will still make a massive story. You know, where's Meghan? Harry overshadows the king. Dad's fury. All that. It's going to happen, isn't it?
It is. But first of all, let me say that was a very well-written monologue, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
I've forgotten that you actually are a proper journer. That was fantastic.
I used to do this for a living.
Yeah, it was actually amazing. I was very impressed with that. It was mostly cobblers.
I thought you were going to say that.
I think you're spot on. William is going to be fuming.
Yep.
Yeah. It's almost more powerful Harry coming alone, I think, without Meghan. Because you're right. She's over there, so she's got her own thing going on. I don't want to come and support them. I'm going to stay in one season. I'm going to celebrate my kid's birthday. Harry goes over. They're going to have the spotlight in both continents. Yeah. And I love it. And William's going to absolutely hate it. Good.
Oh, yeah.
What about the poor old king? Give him a break. Come on, Jay.
Yeah, King Charles, he's had a rocky-ish start. I think he's actually a good king. I think he's going to be a great leader. But he's got to sort out his kids. What we need is he needs to be a better parent and not worry about being a king so much. He needs to get those two boys in a room and thrash this out. That's what can save the coronation. Imagine if he gets Harry into a room with William, and then of course the palace will leak it. King Charles, takes the boys aside and acts like the strong father figure that he is.
Anna,
That would be nice.
I said in my monologue that this will produce 1 million column inches. And I think JJ's right, actually. If they both had turned up, 1 million column inches. But in a way, minus Meghan, it will probably produce 2 million column inches.
Oh, yeah. I just think, again, it's going to create such a media frenzy. Like, why is she not there? Why is she staying in America? And I think that this is going to achieve probably exactly what she wants. Attention, because she always wants attention. She loves it.
So
she laps it up.
Even when she doesn't attend,
Yes.
she's still getting told she wants the attention.
Well, I think she always wants the attention.
Do you think it should have got more attention?
I mean, if you make a Netflix show out of it, you know, out of not wanting attention.
If she'd have attended, she should have been sitting in the spotlight. She's not attended. Now it's
I
Harry
think
that's sitting in the spotlight.
either way, she's going to get the attention.
No, you don't want to travel with two young kids on a plane.
That's not what it is. That's not what
It's not the
it is.
reason, though.
But it's really interesting, the more I think about it, and as we're recording this show, it's only just been revealed. Meghan not being there, she'll be the star of the show, won't she?
Yes. I think that's all they're going to report about. Like, you know, who needs a coronation anymore? It's all going to be about the Meghan show yet again.
I know before William apparently had said that he's worried Meghan and Harry were going to go into London suburbs and they're going to meet the poor and people from lesser areas.
Yes, of course.
Will
they would.
Harry do
Very
this now?
sympathetic.
Now that Meghan's not holding his hand, will Harry go and do that?
You know what Harry will do? He'll go and play polo. He'll get on a private jet and go for a game of polo in Italy or something. Down with the kids, keeping it real. You know what he's like.
Oh, yeah.
I think he might do something to do with the Invictus Games. Might maybe go and visit some former soldier
That
pals.
would be good. I'd like
Very
that.
charitable
I'd like
of him.
that.
Harry's gone off and made his own cash now, and even making his own money, he's still going to get blamed. Oh, why did he go to Netflix? Why is he doing anything on Spotify?
Wow.
But he's making a fortune off his own back now. Yes,
Well,
it's because he's a royal.
Is he making it off his own back, or is he making it off from, you know, bashing the royal family?
you know what?
Then he doesn't want to be a part
Still
of
off his own back.
Still keeps the title as well.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I'd rather have Harry doing that than me, the taxpayer, be paying for him and his wife to moan about the country.
But they still have, they still keep the royal titles. And
So
everything.
what?
Well, they
That doesn't
criticise
cost me any money.
Well, I know it doesn't cost you any money. Fair enough, but it's the fact that they're criticising the royal family, disparaging them, and yet they still have the royal title.
Hey, he was
they
born,
keep the status.
He was born a prince. He'll die a prince. That is fine. He has that
If he
title.
hates it that much, drop it.
He might not die a Duke.
The way it's going. Anyway, it is now time for this.
The magical world of dreams. Incredible fantasies dance through our heads. Women's private dreams. Call and listen to us describe our real and unreal dreams. Some are romantic and warm. Others are exciting and playful. From the romantic to the bizarre, they're our very own personal women's private dreams. Call this number and listen in. $1.95 a minute. Call now. We've got special dreams we'd like to share.
Well, Anna, JJ and I don't know what they're talking about. Tell us what you think that means. You're the woman.
Oh, gosh. I've got to decipher what this means. I could honestly not tell. I've never seen anything like that in my life. That was a bit before my time, I
Can
think.
someone just tell me what the number is again? Because I'd like to just give it a call, just find out.
Give the service a try.
If you ask my wife what her private dreams are, it's getting the patio fixed, having me take out the trash on a regular basis, it's that kind of thing. It's nothing sexual, but this over makes it seem like it's something real. What is it? Oh, my private dream.
It'd be funny if you ring the hotline and say, so what were you, a private female doing? They go, well, I was getting chased down the road by a load of geese. Oh, I didn't want that. Got any fantasies for me? I presume that is some sort of sex come on, is it, that advert?
I presume so, yeah. It does say adults or something at the bottom there.
Must be.
But yeah, the advert itself is very loose about what...
In a number of ways. Loose morals. And by the way, it's sexist as well. Why can't there be men's fantasy dreams?
I don't think anyone would necessarily call that.
Blokes going,
What is your...
We have really interesting dreams. Call this number.
Wow.
you'd make about £3 in 10 years. Wouldn't you?
What's your dream? Aston Villa winning the Champions League. I scored last minute.
Never forget Grealish's goal in the 89th.
Oh, they'd be calling for that.
To steal the title. Women going, God, this is rubbish.
Hangs up immediately.
Anyway, it is now time for the bit where we hear from all of my fans. It is this. Well, as such a popular guy, I get a lot of fan mail on social media, and we're going to read you a few examples of the kind of tweets that I attract. Here's my first one. Kevin O'Sullivan is a faced foghorn of ignorance. That fickle gammon muppet doesn't understand anything. Oh. Yeah, I understand you're a here we go. It's like I say this every week. What I love about these people is they think that when you read this, you're going to go, oh, I'm crushed. I can't go on. This person has summed me up and I just am completely ruined by it. Instead of every time I read them, make me laugh. OK, here's another one. This one's good. Home of free speech, my arse. Why is Kevin O'Sullivan obsessed with drag queens? He should wear a tie. I do not simple as that. At least I haven't so far. And here's another one. Number 3 is a hat trick of horror. Why is that boomer, Kevin O'Sullivan, always complaining? He could never be a junior doctor. He's too busy sucking up to Klaus Schwab. What does that mean?
I've actually liked all of those tweets separately.
Yeah, you've actually tweeted them.
It's all you.
Yeah, it's from JJ Anisiobi. At JJ, it says here. But we're going to vary it up. Usually I read them all, but Anna's going to help me out.
I get my fair share too.
Take it away, Anna.
Oh.
These are about you, yes?
These are about me. I do upset people as well. So here's one. Anna McGovern is just another Tory fantasist, liar and stooge. Is she pregnant?
Fact.
Are you?
Fact.
No, well, no, I'm not. No.
Not as far as you know.
Not as far as I know. No, absolutely not. I'd be a bit too young for that at the moment.
Not necessarily. I mean, you know, I know you're young, but you're of childbearing age.
Dear.
And number 2, Anna.
And number 2, Anna McGovern isn't a social action campaigner. She's just a Poundland Sophie Corcoran, fascist scum.
That is too far.
I think the Sophie Corcoran, that was too much for me. That was a proper violation. Poundland Sophie Corcoran. Well, I was so offended when I saw that.
Let's go to a real ad now, or a few ads. What just happened? Do you remember the lost world of what Britain used to be like? The green and pleasant land this corroding country once was? I'm not talking about half a century ago. I'm not even talking about a decade ago. I'm talking about those forgotten times before the COVID crisis, before they locked us down and unwittingly, it seems, profoundly changed this great nation for the worse. It feels like we're in a terrifying tailspin. The fabric is fraying and we're hurtling downhill towards social collapse. 3 years on from the first lockdown, people can't be bothered to work, Kids don't go to school. Soaring crimes are neither solved nor investigated, while an alarming number of coppers turn out to be crooks, rapists and murderers. Everywhere you go, especially in the increasingly dangerous cities, there's an epidemic of coarseness, of bad behaviour, of inconsideration, of stupefying selfishness, as post-COVID Neanderthals sign up to the cult of I'm all right Jack entitlement. The lack of empathy for others is hardly surprising after the government spent the COVID years telling us to snitch on our neighbours. In this atmosphere of rancid decline, random acts of violence are on the rise. Sudden explosions of rage, people attacking strangers for the flimsiest of reasons. The breakdown in law and order is palpable, with cases taking years to get to trial. The courts are in dysfunctional meltdown. Car thieves and burglars go about their nefarious business with impunity, safe in the knowledge that the cops are far too busy patrolling the tweets to patrol the streets. Woke police chiefs apparently regard the kind of crimes that are devastating to victims as beneath them. Instead, they direct their officers to concentrate on hate crimes, to feel the collars of nasty people who make racist remarks and are not nice to the LGBT community. Meanwhile, the amount of rape cases that end in convictions is minuscule, less than 1%. That's a scandal. Contempt for the law is hardly surprising. Many crooks sentenced to community service simply don't do it. More than 1 million hours just ignored, with no pursuit or punishment of the criminals who are laughing all the way to getting away with their next serious offence. A 12-year-old boy steals a grandmother's car and fatally runs her over. In court, charged with murder, he puts his feet up on the dock, leans back and yawns, a child of our decaying times. There has always been the scourge of football hooligans. Now, a less than warm welcome to the theatre thugs who get tanked up and shout, scream and sing loudly along to the songs throughout the performance without so much as a thought for the rest of the audience. Litter is strewn all over the streets, partly perhaps because the authorities never did fully replace the bins they mysteriously took away during the lockdowns. Pubs are closing in their thousands. The cultural landscape is disintegrating before our very eyes. Teachers who let a generation down as schools remained closed to stop a virus that was pretty much harmless to youngsters, let drag queens into the classroom to tell little children's stories. Why? After spending the lockdowns locked in their homes, kids retreated into their wild west of new technology and now spend an average of nearly 4 hours a day gawping at their mobile phones and tablets. No wonder they lack social skills. It's all going wrong. Somehow, life in Britain has turned sour and we've become more abrasive, more aggressive and more entitled. The COVID crisis may be over, but the crisis of what 3 years of manic virus fighting did to us is, I fear, only just starting and escalating fast. Well, those are my thoughts on the post-COVID period. And, whatever you think of the policies that were put in place during the COVID crisis, the lockdowns, we're not here to discuss whether they were right or wrong, but they have changed us. That 3 years has changed us, hasn't it, Anna?
Yeah, well, you've had babies who were born during the COVID lockdowns who've not been able to socialise with other, children their age because they've literally been in they've grown up in lockdown. So then a lot of these children, they're now coming out of lockdown, genuinely don't know how to socialise because those are one of the kind of key things that you develop when you're a baby. And then I think you've just seen, young people are feeling very lost with the current system. They're locked down in their homes, education disrupted, getting into university disrupted. I think a lot of people just feeling very, isolated. Yeah, very insular because everything's now on your phones.
Yeah, I said at the beginning of that monologue, JJ, that I think it's sort of strange. People are just sort of saying, I didn't have to work during the lockdown. I said, you know what, I don't want to do a job. Yeah. Kids don't want to go to school. They don't. Yeah. And then nobody tries to get them to go to school. There's this sort of apathy everywhere. Yeah. The government doesn't seem to be getting to grips with this. It's a definite social decline, isn't it?
100%. I think the pandemic has just fast-tracked us. I think the country was going this way already.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I knew everyone who lived in my street. Yeah. We knew the neighbours. You'd play out in the street with the other kids. These days, as you say, kids want to be doing whatever on their phones or inside, playing with friends across the world, playing with strangers they're never going to meet for 5-6 hours. The world, this country and the world is going to pot.
Yeah. Yes. We've got to move on, but still with politics, it's time for this. Yes, it's Vote For Me when we have a look at some party political broadcasts from around the world. And we're going to Australia this week to take a look at MP Bob Katter, who's very energised about same-sex marriage. He's not worried about it, but he's got more important things on his mind.
You know, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. You know, I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. You know, but I ain't spending any time on it because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
I love the way his face changes. Yeah. Let there be 1,000 blues. But I hear What's that about? I mean, would you vote for him?
I
think I'd have to. Yeah.
I mean, for a start, I'd have to understand what he's actually saying because I did not understand a word of that.
I mean, he literally, it was as if someone switched in his head. It was like, yeah, everyone can do, well, crocodiles.
I did see the switch.
Oh, yeah, such a visceral
same-sex marriage, whatever. But crocodiles. We've got to do something about that. I mean, maybe in Australia there's big votes in crocodiles.
Maybe, but
crocodile lobby.
Yeah, yeah. He would get my vote. I like the passion he has.
Just for the passion.
Just for the passion alone.
Doesn't matter what else
I'd definitely vote for Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks to me to be a dangerous MP, but I'd definitely vote for him. Now, I hope you haven't thought that this was a bad television programme, but this is a section that we call The Best of Bad TV. Take it away. Well, I'm still in party mode because not so long ago it was the 30th anniversary of the Tyne and Wear Metro. The bunting spread far and wide, way beyond Tyne and Wear, obviously. Street parties all over. Anyway, the BBC, in its infinite wisdom, decided to make a musical to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Tyne and Wear Metro. And unfortunately, here it is.
The Tyne and Wear goes electro.
20 hours a day from Southampton to Whitley Bay.
From Bedford down to Jarrow. In the baking heat and the driving seat.
It's our
Tyne and Wear Metro. Subterranean yo-yo. A flash of cadmium yellow. Mama Metro.
Actually jumping up and down, but now the crowning glory of the Tyne and Wear Metro was the escalator. This woman clearly had never seen one before. Here she goes.
And the escalators were the first I'd ever seen.
Did she say that the escalators were the first she's ever seen? She looks like she's about 90. She must have seen hundreds. I mean,
I'm from a part of the world where they're big on stairs.
Yeah. The escalators are the first I've ever seen. You need to get out more.
Yeah,
You really do.
I like that. Is that available to watch now?
I think it is. Last week we did
don't know if I wanna
the
watch that.
Coventry Market. You should have seen the Coventry Market musical. Makes that one look like Tosca or something. I'll tell you. Listen, you guys, it's been a great show, and I'm really glad I got you two down here for such little money. So thank you very much to the journalist, my friend and nemesis, JJ Anisiobi. You can see us on the talk fighting night after night, and political commentator Anna McGovern. Thanks very much.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
What just happened?
It's time for That Was the Woke That Was.
The topical quiz show that goes through all of the wokest stories of the week.
She has been fame hungry from the get-go.
Saturdays at 9 on talkTV.